Welcome back, everyone, to Global War 1914, Operation Albatross. This is the spring of 1916, and we'll start here with Germany, like always. A couple of things to clean up from last turn, mostly with the random event from the east, and that has to do with the Mexican Revolution 1. Now, we're going to have to re-roll for this random event, and the reason is because the Mexican Revolution is still ongoing from the prequel. That event assumes that Mexico is united, and not just united, but united under the federales, and then basically it's a random event that triggers a revolution. It seems like this random event is more implemented based on either completing the Mexican Revolution prior to the spring of 1916 or just playing the game on the base version without the prequel. But because we still have the Mexican Revolution going on, and we are not allowed to move Mexico up a stage on the diplomacy chart in favor of Germany, because we can't complete that, we're going to have to re-roll for this event. So let's go ahead and do that before we get into Germany. And we are at spring of 1916 East. That is a 2. All right. Indian revolts. Germany chooses one of the following. Place one free attacking German infantry in Bengal, the Bengal Rebellion, or place one free attacking neutral infantry in Maharashtra. If they succeed, they become strict neutral. I think we're going to pick Bengal because Bengal is currently not even occupied, and it's not worth any money, but I think that we will place a free attacking German infantry into Bengal, and Germany will get that territory. So let me get a pie out for that. If we were to pick Maharashtra, the neutral infantry would have to go up against regular infantry and an artillery. So, don't like our odds there. Okay, let me mark off the second one here on spring of 1916 East. And now we can get into Germany's turn. Okay, for our purchases, we got quite a bit of them. There's a couple of new things that we're going to introduce here in the spring of 1916, and I'll kind of explain, the rules behind all of that. So, Germany, France, and I believe either Austria, Hungary, or Russia have access now to trench fighters. And those are these guys right here. They cost $2 each, and you can only build a maximum of 2 per turn, but they are effective at combating against trench lines. And so this is kind of a way to counter the trench lines and just how effective they are in the game. If we come over here to the unit and facility reference sheet, we see trench fighters right here. So they attack at a 2, defend at a 2. They move, they only have 1 movement at a 1 like normal infantry. They cost 2. They're available for Germany, France, and Italy beginning the spring of 1916, and then every other nation in the fall-winter of 1916. They have a first strike against a trench line and a target select at a 1 or 2 against land units. So they attack at a 2, and they have a target select at a 1 and 2. So If you land a hit on a trench fighter, you get to choose what unit your enemy is going to lose. So, not too shabby. Another thing that starts off here in the spring of 1916, Britain, France, and Germany must pay to move up armored vehicle technology. So this is a way for the game to kind of force you to get into tanks and armored vehicles. And tanks in particular, they are good at reducing or actually increasing the number of infantry that's needed for your enemy to form a trench line. And it's 1 per tank. So if, let's say, France needs 6 infantry to form a trench line, well, if we attack with an armor, then that would increase that number to 7 for a requirement for a trench line. So we're starting to see units in the game that are going to counter the effectiveness of trenches. And these units will reflect kind of the technology that develops to adjust, for that strategic implementation of trenches. So we're gonna pay the full price, $4, to advance armored vehicles up to stage 4. So we complete that, and we also gain access to armored cars in addition to tanks. And so we're going to do that. We're also going to purchase an armored car for $4. We're going to start construction of a fortification for 3. That'll start at stage 4. So fortifications take a long time to build, 4 stages. They cost $3 for stage 4 and stage 3. And then once you get to stage 2 and stage 1, they only cost $2. We're going to buy an elite unit, a Jaeger infantry for 4, a fighter for 3. And this will be the last year that we will have access to 1916 fighters. And then I think the price will go up to $4 for 1970 technology fighters. And we're going to purchase 3 artillery for 15, and then for another 15, we'll buy 5 infantry. And then we're going to spend $2 for diplomacy, 1 for Norway, and then the other one for the Netherlands. See if we can't get to stage 2 for Netherlands and stage 3 for Norway. For technology, we're going to go for poison gas, try to finish off defense in depth, and then I think we'll round it out by going for improved construction. Would be nice to get that discount cost on facilities and naval ships. Okay. Let's go for technology first. So poison gas will be in the green, defense in depth will be in the black, and then construction, we'll make construction the brown. All right. Well, we hit on poison gas. Man, that might change what I want to buy. Instead of doing diplomacy, I might buy some gas. So we move to stage 2 for gas, and that will give us access to chlorine gas. And the first time that gas is used in the game, or at least the next stage of technology of gas. So in this instance, chlorine gas, the first time that chlorine gas is used, it boosts artillery attack, and I think there's another benefit as well. Let's see. +1 to all artillery attacks with the poison gas in the territory employed for 1 round. So it only lasts 1 round. And then it eliminates defender's first strike ability for the first time that it's used in the game. So yeah, pretty good there. All right, so the other text we missed on, we do move up to stage 2 for chlorine gas. And I think instead of doing diplomacy, I'm actually going to buy some gas so I can show you guys how that functions. So yeah, the $2, it costs $2, and so I will spend that $2 for some chlorine gas. Okay. We don't have any moves in Mexico, so let's go ahead and do our recruitment for that while we're down here. All right, we get a free infantry. Sweet. I'm going to place our free infantry into western Mexico. All right. Let's come over here for combat moves. So in South Africa, we are going to take 2 infantry and a cavalry, an attack into Rhodesia, and also an infantry there in German East Africa will also join in the attack. Now there is a river crossing for the units coming from South African Union that we're going to have to account for. Other attacks, we're going to take a seaplane out on map here and attack that Russian coastal sub. Keep trying to sink him, but haven't had any success thus far. And then likewise, we're going to send out a seaplane from German Shandong and go into P-14 and go on map and try to sink that Japanese coastal sub. Thought about a full-on assault here into Lorraine that would allow us to go ahead and complete our mandatory offensive, but I decided against it. And because I don't want to leave Picardy vulnerable to an attack from Paris or Normandy. So I think we're just going to do some attrition attacks from Bavaria and Picardy into Lorraine. And then we're also going to do attrition attack. I mean, if we had more artillery here in the east, then I would definitely do a full-on assault here into Congress of Poland, but I don't feel like throwing away a bunch of infantry at this point, so we're just going to do attrition attacks into Congress of Poland. Okay. Start out with the attrition attacks here. We have well, we do have 5 infantry in eastern Germany. 5 artillery. That's not too shabby. That actually outnumbers them in artillery. Let me rethink this. We might do a full-on attack in the Congress of Poland now. Yeah. I think we are. Let me get the board set up for that. We'll do that one first. Sorry about that, guys. I for whatever reason, I was thinking I only had 3 artillery, but no, that's a green chip there, so I've actually got more than I thought I had. Okay, so a 1916 fighter will boost up an artillery to a 5. That will leave us with 4 artillery at a 4. We don't want to leave East Prussia vulnerable to an attack from Grando province, so we're not going to attack with everything in East Prussia, but we are going to bring these other 6 infantry from Saxony. And I think, yeah, they are not subject to river crossing. Any infantry coming across attacking from East Prussia is subject to river crossing, so which is fine because we're not going to bring as many from there anyway. So the default for all our other infantry is going to be at a 2, and then these 5 infantry are going to be boosted to a 3. That's coming along with the artillery from Saxony. Or, from East Germany, rather. And then we're just going to send in 2 infantry from East Prussia. So they will be attacking at a 1 on the first round of combat because of the river. Okay, Russia does have a trench line, so their infantry will be defending at a 6, and like I discussed in previous videos, if their numbers are reduced in this first round, if their numbers are reduced below 6, even counting first strikes, they will the remaining infantry will still be defending at a 6. They won't get reduced down to a 4 until after the first round of combat is over. And I think, based on that logic, I think we're going to apply that to infantry pairing with artillery on the offensive. So, and I think even in the 36 game, I've been playing this wrong this whole time. But y'all can confirm in the comments if I'm incorrect in my thinking on this. But so in the past, if I were to choose artillery as casualties from enemy artillery first strikes on the defense, what I would do is those artillery on the offensive are removed from the game right away, from combat. They're destroyed. And I would actually unpair any units with those artillery, which I don't think you're supposed to do until after the first round of combat. So I think that those infantry or those units, might be cavalry, might still be boosted, even though the artillery was destroyed by other artillery first strike. That's if you elect, to take artillery as casualties, of course. So, so kind of in the spirit of that same thinking when it comes to trench lines, it makes sense then to apply that same logic into the first strikes as well. Because my assumption, and it's not clear in the rules. I looked through the 36 rule book too, and I couldn't find anything about it. But it seems to me that, you can't move a unit's attacking value mid combat round. It has to wait until the following combat round before that takes place. So, and now, does that happen? And I guess the other scenario where this could happen is if a dreadnought gets damaged, right? If you take a dreadnought hit from a submarine first strike, does that dreadnought still defend at an 8 when it goes to defend on its turn, or does it defend at a 7? Now, it definitely would defend at a 7 on the next combat round, but I'm not totally sure about the first combat round in that case. So, but I think that's the way we're going to play. We're going to, whatever a unit starts with as its attack value or defense value, it's going to keep that throughout that combat round, and then it will be adjusted in the next combat round, just for consistency. And so we're not having to go back and forth. It's well, is it a trench line? Is this a first strike? It's just too much to keep up with. It's too much to keep straight. Okay, so now that I got all that out of the way, he's got 4 artillery first strikes at a 4. Of course, he's got 8 infantry at a 6. He's got 2 Cossacks at a 4. And 2 infantry or 2 cavalry rather at a 2. All right, let's do first strikes. Germany has 4 at a 4. There's 1 hit. We got another one at a 5. Nice, there's another hit. All right, and then he has 4 at a 4. Oh my God. Whoa, 4 hits. Holy cow. Okay, well, let's count up the casualties here. I think Russia is going to lose 2 cavalry because they only defended a 2. That'll allow us to save our artillery. And then Germany is going to lose a fighter and 3 infantry. Okay, so now we have 5 infantry to 2, 5 infantry to 3, and we've got 5 artillery at a 4. So now we adjust their attack and defense values. Oh wait, no, it's still mid-round. Well, I mean, the artillery is not going to get to fire again anyway. So, so the 2 infantry that we lost, we're going to select the infantry that were river crossing. So 2 of those infantry are gone. And then we lose 1 infantry that was attacking at a 2. All right, so we have 5 infantry attacking at a 2. Oh, no hits. That's not good. 5 infantry at a 3. No hits, man. Yeah, this has been a disaster round for Germany. And we're going to have to retreat for sure after the Russians fire. So the Russians have 2 Cossacks at a 4. 2 hits. Oh, my God. That is... Oh, man. This is not going to be good. And then he's got 8 infantry at a 6. All right. 8 out of 6. Whew. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, man. So we're going to Germany's going to have to account for a total of 8 hits. And that is about as bad as it could have gone for Germany right there. Oh, man. Okay, let's get the Russian units back on the board. Because this battle is over because he maintains the trench line. Well, I was hoping for better results than that, and that was just a disaster. All right, so I'm going to come back over here, get the camera on the eastern front. All right, so we lose oh man, we got to select 8 casualties. Well, 6 infantry and 2 artillery, I think, is what I'm going to lose. So that will leave me with that will leave me with 3 artillery. And they're going to go back into eastern Germany. Well, I think I'm going to retreat them into East Prussia, actually. That will give me an option for future attrition attacks into Grando Province or even Lithuania if I want to. All right, so that means that we have not that many infantry left. We had 10, so we only got 4 infantry total left. So, oh man, this is bad. We're going to go with 3 in Saxony. Of course, we no longer have a trench line. And I might have to retreat some guys back from East Prussia just to reinforce through there. And that will leave just 1 infantry left in Eastern Germany. Okay. For now, we do have a trench line in East Prussia, but that's not going to hold once we get to the non-combat phase. Okay. Now let's roll for our seaplanes. Well, no, let's do the attrition attacks into Lorraine first. Okay. So we have a total of 5 artillery doing attrition attacks into Lorraine. So we need a 1. Hey, we got 1. All right. So France will lose. Let's see what France wants to lose. France will lose an infantry because they got quite a bit there, so they can afford to lose them. All right, now let's roll for the seaplanes. Let's do the one in P14. Need a 3 or less. That's a miss. And then here's the seaplane in the Baltic Sea. And that's also a miss. Okay. I'm just going to clean up the board a little bit here. All right. And we still have the attack in Rhodesia to do. So we have 2 infantry at a 1. Misses. We have an infantry at a 2. That's a miss. And then we have a cavalry at a 2 because of the river crossing, and that's a miss. And then he's got 2 colonials at a 2. Of course, he gets a hit. This has not been Germany's... Oh, they have not had good luck this round. All right, we're going to lose an infantry. What the heck? Let's go to round 2. So now we have 2 infantry to 2. We're past the river. Hey, there's a hit. All right. And then we have a cavalry to 3. That's a miss. And he's got 2 at a 2. Both misses. Okay. So he will lose a colonial. Final round. 2 at a 2. Both misses. And then 1 at a 3. That's a miss. All right. So he will hold Rhodesia. He gets to fire back at a 2. That's cocked, but it doesn't matter. It would be a miss regardless. All right. So he will hold on to Rhodesia with 1 colonial. And I bet he's glad that he built that 2nd colonial some time ago because it saved his rear end on this turn. Okay. Non-combat phase. We are going to take three infantry from Belgium into Picardy. And that will boost us up to 8. We're going to take an armored train, and he will go into Picardy. Two infantry will go into Belgium, and I think we're going to divert this guy in Western Germany over to Saxony. We're going to rail him to Saxony. So that will give us a total of 4 there now. All right. We're going to take... We have 4 submarines that are in port. They're in A11. They're going to come out of port. And instead of dealing with this trap right here, if we were to pass through the English Channel, he would get to fire at us. So we are going to come down this way, north of Scotland, and probably end up over here in A17. Let me count it out, though. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3. Yes, A17. So we will have 4. You know what? Well, either way, his seaplane can reach me. He's got a range of 2. So the guy in France here can't, though. Yeah, so we're just going to go here in A17 and hope that his one seaplane, if he elects to attack us, misses. Okay, so we got 4 submarines in A17, and the rest of the fleet's going to stay where it's at. Our British fleet is looking scarier and scarier with every passing turn. And let's see. What else do we want to do? These units that are here in East Prussia, let's retreat. We have 6. Let's retreat. Let's retreat 2 back to Eastern Germany. So that will give us 4 in East Prussia, and the trench line is going to be gone, unfortunately. And we will now have 2 in East Germany. Okay. All right, let's place some units. Well, let's start with infantry this time. One's going to go down. We have a total of 5 to put down. One's going to go down into East Germany, 1 into East Prussia, and 1 into Saxony. All right. All right, that should be 2 into East Germany. Yeah. Each of these eastern territories should have 5 infantry each. Okay, and then just one shy of a trench line, unfortunately. Boy, that battle really screwed us. That was awful. And then I think, we got to defend Western Germany. We do have our ships in port that would defend against any amphibious assault. We could scramble them. We have the coastal gun as well, but we do need to have, at least a little bit of something in Western Germany. So 2 infantry will go there. That's our final 2 infantry. Yeah, total of 5. Okay. We have 3 artillery to place. I think first I'm going to place this Jaeger, and he's going to go down into Bavaria and join the army. That will give us 2 Jaegers there in Bavaria. And let's see. 1 artillery is going to go into Eastern Germany. We're limited at just 1 unit there at the minor factory. And I think we're going to go with an artillery in Western Germany and then an artillery in Bavaria. We're going to spread the love out a little bit. So Bavaria is now up to 4 artillery. Okay, we have 2 trench fighters. One's going to go into Bavaria. And we don't have any room to put... We don't have any room to put any down on the Eastern Front, unfortunately. Could just put both into Bavaria. Although I would like to have one... We have 1 more slot in Western Germany we can use. Yeah, I'm going to put him in Western Germany, I think. And if we want to push him back to the east next turn, we always can do that. Or we can just build more. We'll figure it out. Okay. Start a fortification at stage 4. Our armored car is going to be produced at this minor factory in South African Union. And our armor is going to be produced in Bavaria. So he will join the unit card there. And you know what? We're also going to put our fighter in Bavaria. Okay, and chlorine gas. So chlorine gas has to be deployed. I think it does take up a factory slot, but we've got plenty in Bavaria or Western Germany to use. I think we have 2 more slots in Bavaria that we can utilize. So I think we're just going to put our chlorine gas down in Bavaria. And that gas will pair with one of the artillery. Well, it'll pair with the artillery. It has to go down where there's artillery. So, okay. Excellent. And I think I'm going to put the chlorine gas marker actually on the map here so I remember that we have access to gas there. Okay, let's come over here and figure out our income situation. So we're at a base of 44 now. And how much do we add to that? 7. Okay, not too bad. Western Germany's not blockaded, so we get +2 for that. Southern Iraq is occupied by Britain at the moment, so we don't get any extra bonus income for the railroad connection. Sweden and Norway are still neutral, so we get +1 for that, bringing our bonus total to 3, so +10 total. And then for trade, we get an extra 2, so that's 12. So we will collect 56 for next turn and have 56 in the bank. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. If I did, I will tell you guys about it on the British video. Until next time, take it easy. Bye for now.